Hey guys, it's Old Man G here, back again with a fantasy football deadline day game week 15 stream. I'm going to be joined by Josh. He's running a bit late, but we'll obviously be getting into some tips I think anyway that might be helpful for fantasy football. But remember, if you're new to the channel, remember to like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter, We United X, and smash that notification button. About latest Manchester United and fantasy football tip news. So I thought I'd first quickly, before I go into some advice, actually just go through, but just do a basic game week 14 review. And to be honest, it wasn't that great for me. If I just kind of go back here, 57 points. The average was 60, so I had quite a below average game week. The big reason for me was because two of the players that I played, specifically James and Vestergaard, I sort of banked on them. They didn't really perform. James didn't even play, and unfortunately, I didn't have any defenders on the bench that could really come in. Mendy, Gabriel, other two who were regulars didn't play either, so no one could really come in. So I already lost points on that. I banked on Clark because I thought Newcastle would get at least a clean sheet against Fulham. That didn't happen. It started well with Martinez, and I think Martinez going forward is basically my first choice keeper, and you'll see my lineup in a second. Outside of that, it wasn't great, you know. So a captain, you know, I guys with obviously Rashford doing quite well. I banked on Rashford obviously scoring against Leeds. You know, he did not. Bruno Fernandes actually did very well. So that's a mistake. I should have captained Bruno Fernandes. That probably would have put me in the echelon of actually getting a good result. Grealish got 10. Son, again, a bit disappointed at how Spurs played, to be honest. That is something to look out for, whether Spurs are going to be on a bit of decline. Who knows? Saints FC vlog, hello, how you doing? I came from Matchday Blogs. Yeah, Chief, thank you for joining. Really appreciate it. Although this is we mostly cover Manchester United stuff, we do cover fantasy football and other teams as well when we get them wrong. So if you want to get involved, please get involved as well. There's a lot of good stuff. Matchday vlogs, and yeah, like channels for everybody. It's for everybody. Southampton doing quite well, actually, to be honest, you know, so fair enough. So, but thank you so much for joining, man. I really appreciate it. Make sure that you like the vid as well if you can. Let's see. Let's quickly go and review. Yeah. Okay. So, basically disappointed with Rashford and Son and the front three. I didn't expect like Patrick Bamford, even in that Leeds game, he should have gotten at least a goal. Calvert-Lewin got an assist, didn't get a goal, but got an assist, and Wilson scored. I still think this front three is probably the cheapest reliable front three in FPL. Yes, you could get a Vardy, yes, you could get a Kane, but they are quite expensive, and I think that this front three, person, in my opinion, just gives you more, and I've stuck with this front three going forward. Do you recommend Vestergaard out or in case of injury? Well, let me show you actually my pick, mate. 2 seconds. Yep, Josh, I know you're here, but for some reason, oh yeah, okay, I'll add you to the stream now. Right. Okay, there you go. Right. Okay, Josh is with us now. Can you hear us, Josh?
I can. It's not letting me start my camera. Having some technical difficulties over.
Yep. That's perfectly fine. You don't have to start your camera if you want. You can just go on audio while we wait. In answer to your question, take out Vestergaard because injury. Well, what I've done, because I was also concerned about Vestergaard's injury. Now, to be honest, what I personally recommend, if you haven't used it already, is your wild card. There are 2 wild cards. You get 1 wild card before Christmas, before New Year, after New Year. So if you haven't used your wild card, I'd recommend using your wild card now, with like about 2 games left of the thing, just to sort of maximize your points. That's what I would do, and that's what I've done. I personally would take what was the name? So I personally would take Vestergaard out and actually put Bednarek in. That's what I've done. because I think Bednarek is a sure starter to play, and I think Southampton are playing Fulham. I suspect Southampton are good enough to keep a clean sheet against Fulham. That's what I would do anyway. But if you have your wild card, I'd recommend playing that wild card in the week as well. I'll just add Josh to the stream. What do you think about that, Josh? Would you recommend taking Vestergaard out in case of his injury, and who would you put in place?
See, I have I that thing about the wild card is interesting because I have a few Arsenal players I need to get rid of, and all of my bench is injured apart from one, I think. So I think in my defense, I have Chilwell, who's I believe is a doubt for the Arsenal game. And then I have Gabriel and somebody else. So I'll just get my team up now. So,
okay. Also, I've just
I think
go on.
No, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I've just seen it come from Jonas. Roca says, Souček or Prudence for this game week? I know Souček has Brighton at home, but Prudence is more attacking player. And you don't know what could happen in a Spurs-Wolves game. I get that, but I also think that, like, from what I know about Wolves, and I know that Jose is going to be quite defensive. And from what I remember, Wolves do tend to struggle when they play against teams that that are quite defensive, that drop deep. I in my opinion, I would go for Souček. I don't expect much from the Spurs and Wolves game. I could be completely wrong, as I was wrong last week about Salah, so don't listen to that. But from what I remember seeing Wolves play, they do tend to struggle against teams that drop deep and are quite defensive. And I know that's how Jose is going to go. I mean, I don't know what your thoughts on those two questions, Vestergaard and Souček opponents, Josh.
Yeah, I like Souček. I think I'm going to put him in my team. He's always West Ham always getting those crosses in, and he's getting headers. If anyone remembers last week, because I put Son into my team, and I said anytime I put Spurs players into my team, they don't get any points. And it happened again.
And
so
happened, didn't it? Yes,
I must be some reverse juju on Mourinho. So I'm gonna put. I might have to put Kane in. I might be sacrificing my points, but they might not get any points. So I'm gonna keep putting my Spurs players in, and then they're gonna lose.
Well, fingers crossed. You're gonna need something at the weekend. So I guess we're both agreeing, Jonas, on Souček. And says yes, I played my wild card. Fair enough. A Footline, welcome, Footline Z. Should I bring Salah or keep Mane? I've obviously played my wild card. Is if you can see my team. Martinez in goal, Diaz, Thiago Silva, Bednarek. I've got a midfield five of Salah, who I've captained against West Ham at home. I think personally for me, Mane's form hasn't been great. Again, this could bite me, but like Salah seems to be scoring more of the goals and is more clinical. So I would even captain Salah. I think I'd be very surprised if West Brom were able to get anything from Anfield at home. Although the only caveat to that is Big Sam. So if anyone is going to get a draw, it's going to be Big Sam. But I still expect Liverpool to beat West Brom quite convincingly. So I think captaining Salah is quite a good bet. I've got Grealish and Fernandes, Son against Wolves, Zaha against Villa, and then Calvert-Lewin and Bamford. I mean, Calvert-Lewin against Sheffield United away, I don't think is a decent shout either, to be honest, because we know Sheffield United's poor record. So that's kind of how I would go about things. But I would certainly say keep if you can bring in Salah, because Mane form-wise just hasn't been as good. But if you want to stick with Mane, I still think he might get an assist or goal or so against his West Brom side. What are your thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I don't think anytime I seem to take Salah on my team, he starts scoring. So it's really up to you guys. I think Salah's more reliable. because Salah's on pens too. So even if they have a bad game, like Fulham game, Salah still took a penalty, And I mean, Salah came off the bench against Crystal Palace and got a brace and an assist. So, and I was in like 20 minutes.
Exactly.
So I think you can't really go wrong with Salah this season. He seems to, he seems to have something to prove because people keep doubting him for some reason. Even though he's got the best goal scoring record in the Prem. For whatever reason, people keep doubting him. So I'd go with Salah. I'm actually playing my wild card, so I need tips with you guys because I'm going to play my wild card also.
Well, have you selected your team then?
Well, I'm doing it as we speak, so I'm looking at the comments.
Please,
so
have
how long? I have 17 minutes, so you guys better get your tips in.
You have 70 minutes, bro. You have 70 minutes. So let's quickly move on. Like I said, get your comments in, get your questions in as we continue to approach the deadline. Ask us for anything, or even help, or even give us suggestions. We're not obviously perfect, so but I think we could give you sort of our advice. So, like I said, I would definitely play a wild card if you haven't already. I would still hold off on free hits, captain Gameweeks and all the rest of it. Like, just hold off of that. I think don't play those yet, especially with a lot of games left to the play of the season, and with a blank game week, I think coming up fairly soon. Shout out to Mo. Neto is good value. I think if we're talking about actually, let me just add this. This is the best value. I'll make that as a quick heading. That here, yeah, best value players. I definitely think that Neto. I do agree with you, Mo, that Neto is a good shout out. I think if you haven't already got, I think getting a City defender, if you can, someone like Diaz, who seems to be more consistent, if you can, is also a good shout. If you haven't got Patrick Bamford already, again, decent shout. Josh, any thoughts?
I'm just looking at the list, and Arsenal players are so expensive.
Yeah,
like seriously,
they're expensive, but I haven't done it.
What kind of fraudulence is this?
They're expensive.
No, seriously.
Yeah, no, they're expensive, but they haven't done it. That's why. If you can't have any Arsenal players in this FPL, you
not
can't
this season. Not while Arteta's at the wheel.
Aubameyang, I'm surprised that Aubameyang's value hasn't dropped dramatically. You know what I mean?
He's 11.4. He's more than Vardy, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's more than Kane and Vardy.
How was Aubameyang 11.4 and has scored basically what, 2 goals in 14 games?
Three.
What is he scored? What is that including the own goal?
2 penalties and 1. No.
Oh, he scored against Fulham. He scored against United, the penalty against United. Then he scored against Southampton, didn't he? Yeah. Okay, so that's true. Yeah. Okay, cool. It's
guys
Lap.
in the comments.
How are you doing? Well, and then how are you doing? We're doing okay, mate. We are doing fine. We are doing okay. And Lap says, "What do you think of my team? Alisson, Zuma, Mina, Robertson, Henderson, Rashford, Bruno, Lookman, Kane, Vardy, Tammy." That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. So Alisson, that's fine. Will Chelsea get a clean sheet against Arsenal? Probably. I don't think that's a decent bet. I think that's a decent bet given we're not sure who's actually starting for Arsenal. I think if Martinelli and Aubameyang start for Arsenal, then Arsenal getting a clean sheet, I think, is less likely. But I don't think we know who's starting yet, so I don't think it's a decent bet. Mina, who Everton playing? Yep, good shout. They're playing Southampton, Sheffield United away. Robertson, good shout. Henderson, Rashford, Bruno, Lookman, Kane. I think that's a good team. I think the only maybe suggestion I'd put, based on what I have, is if you could get maybe it's a decent shout to try and get Son in. You know, that's the only suggestion I would make. Maybe Son in for like a Lookman, if you can, or maybe a Rashford even. You know, well, I don't know what your thoughts are, Josh.
Yeah, Lookman is fairly cheap. Vardy, Kane, and Tammy. That's quite an expensive front line. I would probably put in.
It's a good team.
Some cheap. Yeah, you'd have some maybe cheap alternatives. And then maybe get a. So you got Bruno, Rashford, Lookman, Hendo.
It's a very good team.
Actually, I mean, there's not really much to change, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know how much Tammy Abraham is, but
it looks like you're playing free. So are you playing free? You're playing 3-4-3. So you're playing Zuma, Mina, Robertson, which I think is a good shout. And then you're playing Henderson, Rashford, Bruno, Lookman, and then Kane, Vardy, Tammy. You're probably not going to get that many points from, if at all, from Henderson. The only issue I've had so far with Liverpool is that like they still do concede goals, but will they concede to West Brom at Anfield? Nah, I don't think so. Ilsap says I might remove Tammy and Lookman. What do you think, Josh?
I'm gonna let me quickly check Tammy's price now, because I feel like there's better alternatives. But Tammy Abraham, he's one of those players that not many people have. So maybe it's a good shout to put him in. Lookman is cheap, so there's another Fulham player, Reed, who might be a better alternative, but I'm not sure if he's a striker or a midfielder. But to be honest, Tammy Abraham's probably a good shout because he's a player that nobody really uses. So that might be a good shout. I'll just quickly check his price.
Yeah, no problem. I think
Tammy Abraham is 7.2, so that's actually, I mean, Bamford 6.4, and he's probably the only person who's near that. So I think that Tammy Abraham's actually a good shout.
I think it's probably worth actually talking about the captain picks for the game week. I've personally gone with Salah. I think at Anfield at home against the West Bromwich Albion side that do concede goals, even though they have Big Sam. And as we said before, Salah I think is whatever you say will be a consistent, reliable goal scorer. Now, whether he'll start or not, that is the question. I think that for me is the risk potentially that you have with Salah. Is he going to start or not, given Klopp's rotation? I suspect that he will, given that he was rested initially for the first game. Yep. I think that's who I would captain. You know, to be honest, I don't know, Josh. Do you have any? Who are you captaining this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Salah as well. I've got a strong team now after playing that wild card. But what's
your team, Josh? Or send it to me, maybe.
I've got Martinez in goal. Chufal from West Ham, the right back. Kyle Walker-Peters. And Chilwell, but I might take Chilwell out for Zuma. Neto, Fernandez, James Ward-Prowse, and then captain and Salah. And then Vardy, Calvert-Lewin, and Che Adams up front.
Vardy, Calvert-Lewin, and Che. That's good. That's solid. That's solid.
Now I've got Matty Cash and Souček on the bench, but I'm not sure whether to put Souček in instead of James Ward-Prowse.
Well, as I said, the only reason why I would remove Tammy is because he isn't guaranteed, even though he scored twice against West Ham. Yes, that's the only thing. Is he going to start against Arsenal? I'm not 100% sure. To be honest, I would be. He might, but wouldn't be surprised if Giroud started. To be honest, so I do that. So I think that's a fair shout. I don't know. I don't think he would. Mo says, I have Martial as captain. I suck at this game. Why? You still got time to change it, Mo. You still got time to change it. But yeah, I certainly wouldn't be captaining Anthony Martial as a banker if you can. If there's anyone else in your teammates, I'm saying this as a United fan. If there's anyone else in your team that you can captain, please captain them. I wouldn't.
Martial's not bad. He kind of does the Firmino role ish.
Yeah.
So he's not. He won't. He might not get an assist, but he'll get the pass before the assist.
Yeah.
So it's not really worth putting him in. He's a good player, but it's not worth. He's not. It's like having Pogba in your fantasy team.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's really good, but he's not the type of player to get loads of goals and assists because he plays deeper than Bruno. So
yeah, Bruno Fernandes.
Although when he does score, oof.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And what I would say is, if you do have Bruno, let's say Bruno, captain Bruno, if you have the option, if you don't have the option and like that, because you've got to get a goal or assist from this guy.
The two bankers, like Captain Salah or Bruno, they won't let you down. They won't let you down.
I might captain Kane. Again, I don't think that's a bad shout.
Kane's a fraud. No, I'm joking. He's definitely not a fraud.
They might score against. I'm sure they might score against Wolves. So I mean, it's. I wouldn't be surprised if the game was a draw. To be honest, it's going to be a tough game for Spurs. I wouldn't be surprised if they do score, but yeah, it's be an interesting game. So because Spurs were in a title race with Liverpool not too long ago, and since then they've lost 2 games, and I see them drawing against.
Ever since Spurs fans said they were in a title race, they're no longer in a title race.
No, exactly. That said, Arsenal fans are in a relegation battle, so it's a difficult. I've seen
we can be in a relegation battle and somehow we can still banter Spurs. I don't understand how it works. I saw all of the people on Twitter when Spurs lost to Leicester. And they everyone just forgot about Arsenal. It was just back to Spurs. They have this amazing way of just drawing the attention towards them somehow, and it's a superpower. You've got Arsenal in an actual relegation battle, and somehow people still have the time to banter Spurs. I've never seen anything like that fan base. It's incredible. I think it must be a gift. I don't know.
Maybe. Raymond Moore. Yo G, how are you, mate? Merry Christmas to you. Merry Christmas to you, Raymond Moore. Thank you so much for stopping by the channel. Really appreciate it. I'll be hopefully doing more community updates on this channel. So there'll be small video posts where I just update you guys on what's happening with the channel and trying to get some feedback as to how we take the channel going forward in 2021. Stay tuned for my end of year review as well. So get involved with that. That's going to be really, really good. But thank you for stopping by, Raymond Moore. Really appreciate it. And remember, for guys who are watching, if you remember to like the video, and if you're not a member, please subscribe to Red Devil Studio. We're trying to do more regular fantasy football leagues. The big issue with this type of stuff is that if the game's always on a Saturday, on a bank holiday, it's fine. The problem sometimes is that the game week starts on Friday, and the deadline is 5:30 or something. So that's not great. So It's Lap says the most intriguing. It is the most intriguing. It's second versus third, and I'm hoping that United can get the dub here. Because if we do, who knows?
People need to put some respect on Ollie's name. I watched a really good interview today. I know this is probably not the right podcast, so I'll only give it 10 seconds. But I watched a really good interview, and he was talking about how he basically prepares players, especially young players, for making the big step. So, obviously, he's been at Mulder. It's a different task.
We've got 4 more minutes just before the deadline. Let me just quickly get a few things in. Also, Kayaka Wassa says, "Is Kufal starting?" What do you think, Josh?
I don't know. The game's at what? The game's later, so I have no idea. But I put him in my team.
I personally would take the risk. I've had. There's been nothing that suggests that Kufal is injured. So if you want to put him in, I would put him in. West Ham are playing Brighton. So again, good shout. It's Labs. Tell your friend 3-1 to Chelsea against Arsenal. It says It's Labs.
You're probably not wrong.
just before we finish, most valuable player or best value player, just player who you think that is just worth a stint going in.
Cost effective.
Yeah, cost effective. Yeah.
Probably Calvert-Lewin. Because he's still under 8 mil, isn't he?
Mm.
The more expensive strikers, Vardy's and Kane's 10 plus mil. I would probably say Calvert-Lewin. Just for the price. If it was the more expensive, it wouldn't be necessarily cost, but I would say Fernandez because he's under he's like 10 mil or something. 11 mil, but he's cheaper than Salah's and people like that, and he always gets something in a game. So
there's two. I would agree with that. I think if you're gonna go, if someone who's gonna get goals, Calvert-Lewin against, and I even said it's worth even a risk potentially captaining him against Sheffield United, because we know Sheffield United's form. Everton will probably win the game and score goals. If they're going to score, it's going to be that from this man. So take a point. I've captained Salah instead, but I think Calvert-Lewin for me would be the most cost-effective player in this game week specifically. Rasmus, shout out to Rasmus watching on Twitch. Really appreciate you, Chief. You've been here since the beginning. Thank you so much for stopping by. Martinelli should start. Well, that's another thing. Risk, if Martinelli's going to start, then maybe you can bring Martinelli into this team. That is a risk. But when Martinelli does tend to play, he usually gets an assist or a goal. So if you
let me see if I can quickly put him in.
So if you want to risk, because there is you don't know. It's a risk. It's a risk. All I would say. He might not start. He might come from the bench. But if he does start and he does play, Martinelli does get a goal and assist.
Let's see if I can do it in time.
Salah,
what position is he?
He's a midfielder, isn't he?
No, he must be a striker. What are these guys doing? Martinelli's not a striker.
You got a minute to make. You got a minute to make it, Josh.
I'm not gonna do it in time.
Martinelli.
He's definitely a midfielder. That's what I'm saying.
Josh. Yeah, he's 4.9. Make the switch.
Oh. Come on, man.
Make the switch if you can.
Who should I take out? Neto or Suchek? Neto. See you, Neto.
And it's got 11 o'clock.
No, I'm good. I've done it.
You done it. Okay.
Did I?
You click confirm.
Game is being updated. Oh gosh, I'm not sure if I've done it.
You did it. Okay.
I'm not sure.
Oh, man, it slaps, man. It slaps. See, that's. I think that's that was the tip that Josh needed. I think that. But who knows? Who knows? I still think that it's a risk. Because we're not 100% sure because of that knock whether he will start. He might come on, but we're not 100% sure whether he'll start. And Martinelli tends to do a lot better when he starts than when he comes on as a sub and trying to sort of impact the game. And you never know what it will be. But we'll see. But we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining our fantasy football deadline day stream. We'll be back again. What's happened to FPA? It's gone 11. It's over. They've stopped. It's finished. Hopefully, you've got your team locked and loaded in. Remember, we'll be back again. I think next game week, if I recall, and I'll just scroll down here, is Monday the 28th. So we'll be doing another, and that's a bank holiday again in this country. So we'll be doing another. We'll be doing another deadline day stream at about 1 o'clock on Monday. So stay tuned for that as well. Rasmus A. Martinelli is like Van der Beek, not often picked despite playing pretty much whenever he plays. Well, sorry. To be fair, unlike Van der Beek, Martinelli has actually been injured for quite some time, and he's only just got back from injury. So I understand that they want to sort of manage his injury, and when he has come back, he has been selected in the side, and I think Arteta wants him. He's just been injured.
No. that is fraudulent. Arteta is trying to save his job. He didn't play Martinelli before he was injured. He was playing Aubameyang, Laka, and someone else. I don't think he was even playing Pepe at this point. He was playing somebody else, I think.
Oh yes, that's true.
He wasn't playing Martinelli. Martinelli was on the bench, and now he's doing all the PR stuff because he knows the fans love Martinelli, and he's saying, we need players like him in this team, blah blah blah. You weren't even playing him before. He's a fraud. He likes his jackers and players like that.
He likes his jackers.
So there you go.
Yeah. I think we'll be bringing back the Red Gunners podcast. We'll do that. When will we bring that back? Actually, where are we? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, something. Yeah, we'll probably bring the Red Gunners podcast back again. Probably after Arsenal played again. So probably on Tuesday or Wednesday or something like that. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, if you're new to the channel and like fantasy football, like, share, and subscribe to Red Devil Studio. Follow us on Twitter and X and smash that notification button for the latest Manchester United fantasy football and various other tips. Have a nice day, everyone, and cheers.